It's July 19th, 1985. A high-ranking KGB colonel, hunted by his own comrades, lies curled in agonizing silence in the cramped trunk of a British diplomat's car, hoping Soviet border guards won't discover the West's most valuable spy inside. Every second could mean freedom or a bullet to the head. Meet Oleg Gordievsky, KGB colonel, career spy, and the most dangerous Soviet turncoat of the 1980s. Privy to some of the USSR's deepest secrets, Gordievsky covertly fed MI6 intelligence that tipped the balance of the Cold War. His defection to the West wasn't just personal. It reshaped international espionage. Gordievsky's escape was not just about one man crossing a border. It was the West's greatest intelligence coup of the decade, stripping the KGB of a trusted insider who had guided operations across Western Europe. The loss was a prestige disaster for Moscow, and a treasure trove for British and American spy masters. By 1985, the Soviet Union was a state under siege, from within and without. The KGB's grip on society was almost total, with the Iron Curtain sealed tight and surveillance omnipresent. Defecting meant risking torture and execution, leaving behind family, country, and everything familiar. For a colonel stationed in Moscow, the odds of escape bordered on impossible. Gordievsky was a career KGB man, trusted with the prestigious post of resident, KGB station chief, in London. Climbing the ranks for over 2 decades, he mastered tradecraft, psychological games, and the bureaucratic labyrinth of Soviet intelligence. With access to sensitive dossiers, agent lists, and Kremlin strategies, he was vital to the Soviet intelligence war against the West. Gordievsky's initial motivations were ideological. Witnessing the 1968 Soviet invasion of Czechoslovakia and becoming disillusioned with communist repression, he came to see the West as a beacon of liberty. Over time, disgust with the regime, a personal yearning for freedom, and mounting fear of discovery as a double agent forced his hand. When he felt the KGB closing in, escape became a matter of survival. To MI6, Gordievsky was a Cold War goldmine, revealing KGB tactics, double agents, and disinformation campaigns. He provided early warning of Soviet paranoia about a NATO first strike, allowing the West to de-escalate a potential nuclear confrontation. His insights helped MI6 and CIA unravel Soviet espionage in Europe and neutralize key Soviet efforts. But the risk was existential. Gordievsky left his wife and daughters behind, knowing they could be pressured or punished. Under 24/7 KGB scrutiny, he feared polygraph tests, planted informants, and the ever-present threat of assassination or imprisonment. The psychological cost was profound. Paranoia became a necessary survival tool. The Soviet regime perfected surveillance. KGB tails, phone taps, sudden interrogations, restricted foreign travel, and a climate of constant suspicion. Gordievsky's every move was shadowed. As he fell under suspicion, detection teams tracked his steps, cut off communications, and imposed interrogations. Defection for someone at his level was both a logistical and psychological minefield. His disappearance triggered immediate panic in Moscow. The KGB launched a furious hunt, closed border checkpoints, interrogated hundreds, and unleashed a global disinformation campaign, painting him as a traitor and criminal. In show trials, defectors' families were pressured, their names erased from the record. Gordievsky was tried in absentia and sentenced to death. Gordievsky's wife and children were left behind, first as hostages, then as outcasts. His family suffered years of isolation, KGB intimidation, and loss of social standing. Only after painstaking negotiations and years of uncertainty did the British government succeed in reuniting them in the West in 1991. MI6 greeted Gordievsky as a hero, but moved quickly for debriefing in secure locations, first in Norway, then the UK. British and American intelligence spent months extracting every detail, providing him with a new identity, round-the-clock protection, and eventually public recognition as one of the Cold War's most influential defectors. Gordievsky's escape was astonishingly risky, perhaps the most dangerous spy exfiltration of the era. KGB surveillance was relentless, border controls ruthless. Getting caught meant death or torture, and the regime's record for hunting down defectors abroad was chillingly efficient. In return for unparalleled intelligence on Soviet strategy, MI6 and the CIA gambled everything. Gordievsky's insights prevented catastrophic escalation, gave the West enormous leverage, and cost Moscow its most successful Western operation. For Gordievsky personally, the cost was family separation and a lifetime in hiding. The escape, codenamed Operation Pimlico, was spycraft at its peak. MI6 slipped coded signals to Gordievsky, arranged rendezvous points, and used British diplomatic immunity to smuggle him locked inside the trunk of a Ford diplomatic car. Every turn of the operation was timed to seconds, with backup plans ready for disaster. After Gordievsky's escape, the KGB purged departments, increased surveillance on diplomatic missions, tightened border controls, and spread rumors of double agents inside Western intelligence, leading to years of mutual distrust and spy hysteria. Few defectors generated as much Western interest as Gordievsky. For months, MI6 and CIA leadership personally oversaw his debriefing and security, ensuring he was both protected and celebrated as living proof of KGB rot and Western intelligence supremacy. Though ideology catalyzed his break with the USSR, personal safety, resentment of the regime, and deep admiration for Western openness played equal roles. Gordievsky's case proves how complex motives, political, practical, and profoundly human, drive defections. Oleg Gordievsky's escape demanded extraordinary courage, risking slow death by radiation, a bullet in the dark, or lifelong separation from his children. Few can imagine the psychological burden of abandoning all roots, friends, and family for the hope of freedom. The tipping point came when the KGB summoned Gordievsky home under false pretenses, subjected him to interrogations, and put him under surveillance. Realizing he was a hair's breadth from arrest, he activated the escape plan, previously coordinated with MI6, a plan for just such a desperate moment. Operation Pimlico was the result of years of secret planning, establishing signals, memorizing routes, rehearsing stories, and creating fallback options. Gordievsky waited for a safe window, watching for the signal, a British diplomat walking with a Safeway shopping bag near his flat. The plan was ruthless in execution, but steely in preparation. On the day of the escape, Gordievsky dodged his KGB tails and made his way to the rendezvous outside Moscow. He climbed, shaking, into the cramped trunk of the British diplomatic car, sweat stinging his eyes, heart racing as the vehicle rolled toward the border and an uncertain fate. The regime didn't realize what had happened until it was too late. Initially, they suspected an abduction. Soon, they understood the truth, a devastating breach. The KGB panicked, interrogated, and blamed each other, fearing a mole in their own ranks had overseen their prized colonel's flight. MI6 drivers bluffed and bantered with Soviet border guards, using diplomatic immunity to force passage while Gordievsky suffocated in the trunk. At any moment, a random search or slip could have delivered him and years of intelligence operations to executioners. Seconds stretched into hours until the border receded behind them. Crossing into Finland, the British diplomats unlocked the trunk. Gordievsky was shaking but alive, finally outside the USSR's grasp. Soon, he was flown to Oslo and then to the UK, free but forever marked by the dangers he outran. Timing, trust, and flawless execution were key. A rare lapse in KGB vigilance, combined with MI6's careful planning, the protocols of diplomatic immunity, and Gordievsky's nerves of steel, all converged in a perfect storm of Cold War tradecraft. Gordievsky gave the West a unique window into Soviet paranoia, strategy, and internal collapse. His intelligence played a role in ending Cold War brinksmanship, exposing espionage networks, and confirming Western assessments of the Soviet regime's true nature. A single random inspection at a checkpoint, border guard suspicion, or a tighter surveillance net by Moscow Center could have doomed the operation. Luck, along with MI6's magisterial tradecraft, made all the difference. By every measure, success was extremely unlikely. The KGB's track record with defectors was deadly. Only disciplined planning, diplomatic immunity, and a sliver of good fortune kept Gordievsky from the fate that befell many before him. The signal with the Safeway bag, the nerveless MI6 drivers at the checkpoint, and a tired border guard's decision not to search the car trunk. These were the pivot points upon which Gordievsky's life and Cold War history turned. Had Gordievsky been caught, he would have faced brutal interrogation, trial, and likely execution. The West would have suffered the loss of crucial intelligence, and the KGB would have scored a monstrous propaganda victory, further terrifying would-be defectors. Earlier or later, a different KGB chief or more vigilant border staff, even shifting Cold War atmospherics, could have led to disaster, or to MI6 aborting the plan as too dangerous. Timing, both accidental and deliberate, was everything. Compared to other dramatic exfiltrations, like Pyotr Popov's betrayal, Viktor Belenko's Migdash, or the artistic leaps of dancer Rudolf Nureyev, Gordievsky's case mocked a rare blend of intelligence goldmine and spy thriller peril, executed at the absolute peak of Cold War tension. Gordievsky rebuilt his life in Britain, participating in intelligence analysis, writing memoirs, and becoming a revered expert on Soviet affairs. Despite surviving multiple reported assassination attempts, including a suspected poisoning in 2007, he lived under Western protection, eventually reuniting with his family and remaining an influential voice into old age. The best evidenced account draws from declassified MI6 memoirs, with select CIA files corroborating details, Gordievsky's own writings, Next Stop Execution, and recent British intelligence histories. Timelines, operation codenames, and the central players' roles are well documented and supported by Western and Russian sources. Some mysteries remain. The full extent of KGB suspicion before the escape, tactical debates within MI6, and details of internal Soviet reprisals, continued classification, ongoing Russian sensitivities, and the shadowy world of intelligence ensure that some secrets remain hidden. Oleg Gordievsky survived against all odds. Under British protection, he distilled his knowledge for Western allies, published influential memoirs, and, as of this recording, remains a testament to the resilience of conscience in the bleakest times. Gordievsky's defection was a seismic shock to the KGB, a windfall for MI6 and NATO, and a cautionary tale for authoritarian regimes everywhere. It shaped Cold War endgame calculations, reinforced Western vigilance, and stands as a classic case of human courage against a soul-crushing system. Hero or traitor, Gordievsky's courage was undeniable, though the cost to his family and former comrades raises questions that only history can judge. In an age where totalitarian might seemed unbreakable, he proved that one person, armed only with their conscience and cunning, could shatter the illusion. Operation Pimlico endures among the legendary Cold War spy stories, a rare intersection of daring individual, deadly regime, and intelligence artistry. Gordievsky's journey from KGB insider to MI6 savior remains a sobering lesson in risk, sacrifice, and the hope for a freer life. In the end, Gordievsky's story is a reminder. Even the most fortified systems can be breached by human bravery. Freedom, sometimes, finds a way, one narrow trunk at a time. Next time on Defector Logs, the MiG-25 pilot who stuns the world, Viktor Belenko, and the most explosive military defection of the Cold War. Subscribe for more true stories of courage behind the Iron Curtain.